We're going to pause.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hello, welcome again to Queen's Corner. Today with me, I have Patrick Conley. Patrick is a sophomore here at Bridgewater State University. How are you, Patrick?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Well, thanks. How was the weather out there?
Cold, but I'm sweating right now.
Yeah.
I just did a little sprint, but
Oh, well, good for you. You're getting exercise every day.
for the year.
Every day. You're funny. Patrick, how is the year so far for you as a sophomore?
So far, it's good. I'm experiencing a lot of pressure.
Yes.
Classes, jobs, family, but it's good pressure because it's motivating.
Oh, all right. It helps you move on and makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
Yes. Patrick, you've been chosen. This is your first semester as an RA here at
Yes.
Bridgewater State University. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How is that so far for you?
It is very challenging,
Yes.
but rewarding at the same time. I'm learning that there are a lot of boundaries between professionalism and friendship.
And you're a very friendly person.
Most days.
Most days.
I try to be,
Yeah.
and I have to learn to not get too close where it creates conflict, and I didn't realize that is actually going to be a big struggle,
Yeah.
and definitely something for me to work on. But other than that, it's probably one of the most rewarding jobs I probably will ever have.
Well, very nice to hear, Patrick.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, for more personal issues, recently, well, not very recently, but recently you have came out as a gay person. And for most stories that we hear on campus from our fellow students are when they come out as either they're gay or they're lesbian, or any other sexuality, they claim that it's not straight. They normally get a lot of problems. Most of the problems come from their parents, or their parents or their families do not support them of what the person they want to be or who they are. Some pressure comes from friends and other pressure from the community in general. You, as your experience of coming out, how was that?
First, I was very, very nervous because you hear all these stories about people who come out and then they get thrown out of their houses, or they are just expelled from your group of friends. And so it was very nerve-wracking to me. However, I feel like I spent my whole life in a shell, and I was just not ready, not happy living in that shell. But
when you say in a shell, were you completely closed in to in fact that you went extra level to prove that you were not somebody who you are?
Not necessarily. I just feel like I spent a lot of time being something that I'm not, in a way.
Sure.
I didn't want anyone to, know the real me.
Why is that?
Well, because I was picked on a lot in elementary school, and in middle school as well. And in middle school, that's when the F word started being thrown at me, the gay word as well, and I didn't really want to be singled out, so I kind of just kept myself hidden in a way. I didn't really want anyone else to have the opportunity to single me out.
And when you were singling you out and that you being bullied actually, but did you feel it helped for you to close yourself, to pretend to be somebody that you're not, or did it make the situation worse for yourself?
Very good question. I think that at the time it was me protecting myself, and I think I did protect myself a lot by staying under the radar. But
when you say staying under the radar, what kind of things did you change? Meaning, how is your behavior from being you to the behavior that you have to change to become a completely different person to stay under the radar?
Like wearing certain types of clothing.
What would you use to wear this from?
I used to try to wear a lot of athletic stuff.
Sure.
Because I wanted to blend in, but not so much stick out.
Yes.
it's funny, it kind of became like a science to me. I made sure that like my hair didn't grow out as quick. Well, I just made sure that I grew my hair out,
Yeah.
so like I wouldn't keep it too short.
Yeah.
Have it right now. A lot of people said that, oh, your hairstyle was so gay, and I just kind of left my hair growing out because I didn't want people to.
So you did as much as you could to please proud people who were not agreeing with the person you are. And did you have any support in school, either through institute or teacher or anybody that made you feel a little comfortable at least to express yourself, or to the person who knew what you were going through? Were there any gay students or lesbian students at school? Lessons than you were? Or do you think it was not too hard to see everything?
I think that they were trying to hide themselves as well. I was very close to a good number of my teachers. I shared this particular part of me with two teachers who were, one was very, very supportive and saw me as still the same person, and it wasn't a deciding factor. The other one was a little ignorant because I first used the term bisexual because I had this myth in my head thinking, if I say I'm bisexual, I'm still attracted to women. It would be pleasing to them. But
and you thought that was going to be better later?
yes. A teacher told me that I needed to pick one.
And how did that make you feel?
At the time, I didn't really care. At least I didn't think I did. As I've gotten older, I've looked back on my life and realized that there were a lot of things that have been said to me that I don't really know how I should have reacted to.
Yes. And when you came to your parents to tell them that you were gay, can you recall that experience? How it was?
It was one of...
How were your parents? What's the chemistry between you and your parents? So are they people who you felt all along that you could tell them anything, and either bad or good, and they will still stand by your side?
I didn't feel comfortable telling them a lot about myself because they had made a lot of ignorant comments in the past.
Regarding your sexuality?
Like we'd be watching Ellen DeGeneres.
Yes.
And they'd be like, well, I don't understand that lifestyle or something like that. There was a performer on American Idol who had very feminine appeal, but obviously was cisgendered male, and my parents would just be like, oh yeah, that must be his boyfriend right over there, or like, oh my God, get him out of here, he doesn't belong here. And
so you felt that you do not have a chance, or you weren't encouraged by the behavior of your parents.
But a part of me really did not want to hide it anymore.
Yes.
A part of me just really did not want to be shoved in a corner anymore. I realized that if I continue to be dishonest not only to other people but to myself about who I really am, then how is that authentic? So I came out to them. And I remember my mom and I were driving in the car. I was driving, and she was sitting like this, because I was driving. And we pulled into my driveway. And I don't know what possessed me to tell her then, but I put the car in park, and I just like, Mom, tell you something, and I told her, and it went a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And then a couple of days later, and it was pretty cool.
When you say went better than you expected to be, what was the whole one?
I imagined that her response would just be like this. This is something that she does, like, something that she does a lot. But she's just like, I don't love you when you left. So that made me
That's really good to hear.
It did. And my father said the same thing.
I'm very happy for you, Patrick. We don't get to hear a lot of these stories. All these stories like this are very tragic. And as you said, the children being kicked out of their houses, and really, it's not a positive experience trying to find themselves, and they found themselves, and this is who they are, and this is who they want to be, but they do not get that support. So to hear that your parents gave you that support, it's really a wonderful thing to hear, and hopefully other parents will be more like your parents in that kind of matter.
Hope so.
Yes, and how is the experience of being gay in college?
Well, since I've been to college, I've had a lot of time in the real world.
Yes. And when you say the real world, what is
I started fresh, met a bunch of new people, learned a lot of great things about myself just by meeting new people and discovering that it's okay to be who you are, regardless of how you identify. And I've found out a lot about myself. Like, for instance, I've become more educated on transgender issues.
And the education programs, are you talking about the
GLBTA Pride Center here on campus, which
you're
is
a member?
Absolutely. I'm a student worker there, and it's how I got my start here at CSU.
Do you find that this environment very, not to say inviting, but very supporting of gay community?
I feel so.
You feel so? Are there some issues or some areas that they need to work on more?
I think that there's always room for improvement. However, I will take the environment here over the environment that I came from in the heartbeat.
So they're heading towards the right direction.
I believe so. I think it's going to take a lot of work because you can't, it's very tough to make someone else understand what you're going through.
Yes.
That's one thing I've learned is to get an entire society to understand that.
What has been the most challenging experience of since you started college and being gay? What's been difficult? What are the moments that made you kind of traumatize you, or it's not as you thought it was going to be? I mean, if there are any, then it's really good.
There are a couple. The first week of school, I sparked an interest in someone, and I thought an interest was sparked in me as well. And it was the first ever connection I thought I had ever made with another male individual. And I thought we were going somewhere, and it turns out that it wasn't going anywhere at all. And it was a little traumatizing to the first experience, and words were exchanged between us that I've never been told before. Good things. I was led to believe like
Something was real.
Something real, but it turned out not to be. And this all happened within a period of like 3 days. So it was very traumatizing to me because that was like my first experience I'd ever experienced. And it was something that I think I'm still trying to get over.
You as an RA, how do you take such traumatizing experiences like those to apply into a job area by helping students to feel comfortable? How do you tend to use the experiences that you went through?
I use it as fuel.
Yes.
I use it as fuel because I don't want to. The way I see it is that the experiences that an individual has they have them,
Yeah.
and you can't force them away. They have them, and it's very challenging to live with the fact some of these instances have happened. So for me,
You
I
take them.
try to embrace it.
You take them and the way they are.
I do my best.
And
It's
try to make something positive out of them.
that's a practice that I've been trying to do for about a year now, because I realized that maybe this is probably a more constructive way,
Yeah.
because in the past that is not how it was. And it's been challenging to practice that. However, I've gotten better at it, and it's proven to be a lot more effective than to take the experience and let it drive you down entirely.
And do you see any students here struggling here to come out, or they're having these first-time experiences, traumas? Do you see that in your kind of line of work?
I can pick up on a lot of emotions that residents are having, because being in a first-year home, I can pick up on a lot of emotions that they're having because it's the first time being away from home to begin with. And first years, I guess they tend to be very reserved. So for me, it's hard to tell what exactly they're specifically nervous about. It's my job to ease those nerves. And I'm the type of person who, if someone does not feel comfortable sharing something with me, then I will not force them to. I will let them feel comfortable with me. That is their decision. I just feel like it's my duty to not be so concerned about other people. I've learned that I just don't like to judge people.
You're a very positive person. I hear a lot of, I learned, which is really wonderful. Most times we just, something happens and people just do not want to deal with it. They push it aside or completely ignore it. But so far, so good. And I admire you for that. When you hear about other countries where gays and lesbians, other sexualities that apart from being straight, are recognized, or they have been pushed aside, they not given the equal rights, how does this make you feel? Does this hit home, or since you're here in America and you're on a campus where it's a little easier for you to live your life, you kind of like put it aside, or does this thing hurt you when you hear it?
It hurts me to the point where I feel like I have to put it aside, because
The problem is too big. You just cannot face it.
I cannot face it, because I've been singled out a lot in my life. I know exactly how.
So it's very different from just saying that to just saying I understand how you feel, to you know how it feels. So when you see somebody being singled out, it really touches you.
For example, what I have been hearing about in Russia, how a lot of folks who identify as gay have been put in jail. It just doesn't, I just can't even stomach how people can do that to someone else, because all they did was want to be loved, and they get thrown in jail for it. And that breaks my heart, because that very easily could have been me.
What's the message you have to other gay people out there, or to people who are not gay, but they just do not understand or do not accept? What do you want to tell them?
Life is very short, and there are so many amazing opportunities that life has to offer. For some people, it's hard to find them. Some, it isn't hard. I think that if society spent more time not judging people, then a lot more would get accomplished. Because we are all one big puzzle, I see it. And we're all our own individual puzzle pieces. Not one single puzzle piece is the exact same one. How can we make a puzzle if they're all the same height? That's the way I see it. And I think that if we spent less time judging others for who they are, then it would be much happier. And learning to love oneself is, for me personally, that has been one of the biggest struggles in my life. But the journey to get there is...
And it has been
exactly
hard because you were not getting the approval from others?
From others, yes. Because elementary through high school, it was just not a good time. But now that I'm here, and I'm in a better place, I can start to work towards being a happier person.
Where are you at with yourself right now?
I think that in just a year since I've been here, I have grown to love myself a lot more than I ever have in my whole life.
I'm happy to hear.
Yeah. It's still very hard some days. Some days I look at a crowd of people that reminds me of a bunch of kids from high school and middle school, and it brings up old memories and old feelings of worthlessness and powerlessness. However, there's something else in me that I have seen that is much stronger than that. So it's going to take some time, obviously, but I think that that's good motivation for me.
It's more than motivation. You're heading the right track, and all I can say is thank you very much.
Thank you, Queen.
Opening up, and I congratulate you for everything you have accomplished.
Thank you.
Really, there's no doubt everything you have, you have worked so hard to get it. And I wish you all the best. I'll be seeing you on campus, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you once again for joining us. My name is Queen Butahi, and please tune on next time to see more what I have for you.